Have you ever felt stuck, like your life isn't going anywhere? Imagine if you could change everything just by using your mind. Sounds too good to be true, right? But here's the thing. Your mind is way more powerful than you think. It's like a magic wand that can transform your whole life. Today, we're going to talk about how to use your mind to create the life you've always wanted. This isn't about fancy tricks or hard-to-learn skills. It's about understanding the simple yet amazing power of your thoughts. By the end of this video, you'll see how small changes in your thinking can lead to big changes in your life. So, are you ready to unlock the hidden power of your mind and start living the life you've always dreamed of? Think about this. Every single thing in your life right now started as a thought in your mind. The job you have, the friends you've made, even the food you chose for breakfast. It all began with a thought. Your mind is constantly shaping your reality, whether you realize it or not. It's like having a superpower that you've never fully used. But here's the exciting part. Once you learn how to use this power, you can change your life in ways you never thought possible. Let's break it down with a simple example. Imagine two people who both want to start exercising. The first person thinks, "I'm too lazy. I'll never stick to a workout routine." The second person thinks, "It might be tough at first, but I can do this if I take it one step at a time." Who do you think is more likely to succeed? The second person, right? That's the power of your mind at work. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. But it's not just about positive thinking. It's about understanding how your mind works and learning to use it in a way that helps you instead of holding you back. Think of your mind like a garden. The thoughts you plant and nurture are the ones that will grow and flourish. If you plant seeds of doubt and negativity, that's what will grow in your life. But if you plant seeds of possibility and hope, you'll see amazing things start to happen. Now let's dive a bit deeper into how your mind connects to your reality. Have you ever noticed how some days everything seems to go wrong, while on other days everything falls into place perfectly? It's not just random luck. Your state of mind plays a huge role in how you experience the world around you. When you're in a negative mindset, you're more likely to notice and focus on the bad things that happen. You might snap at someone over something small, or feel like giving up when faced with a challenge. This negativity can create a domino effect, making more negative things happen in your life. It's like wearing dark sunglasses. Everything looks gloomy and uninviting. On the flip side, when you're in a positive mindset, you're more likely to see opportunities and solutions. You might strike up a conversation with a stranger that leads to a new friendship, or find a creative way to solve a problem at work. This positivity attracts more positive experiences, creating an upward spiral in your life. It's like taking off those dark sunglasses and seeing the world in full, vibrant color. But here's the really cool part. You have the power to choose your mindset. It might not feel like it sometimes, especially when things are tough, but you always have a choice in how you think about and respond to what's happening around you. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to approach life with an open, growth-oriented mindset that looks for possibilities instead of limitations. Now that we understand how powerful our thoughts are, let's take a closer look at what's going on in your mind right now. We all have patterns of thinking that we've developed over time. Some of these patterns help us, while others hold us back. The first step in changing your life is becoming aware of these thought patterns. Think about how you talk to yourself in your head. Do you often catch yourself thinking things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up"? These are examples of negative thought patterns that can really hold you back. They're like heavy weights that you're carrying around all the time, making everything in life feel harder than it needs to be. Or maybe you tend to worry a lot about the future, always imagining the worst-case scenario. This kind of thinking can stop you from taking risks or trying new things, keeping you stuck in your comfort zone even when you want to grow and change. On the other hand, you might have some positive thought patterns too. Maybe you're good at finding the silver lining in tough situations, or you believe in your ability to learn and improve. These are the kinds of thoughts that can propel you forward in life. Take a moment to reflect on your own thought patterns. What kind of thoughts do you find yourself having most often? Are they mostly positive, mostly negative, or somewhere in between? Don't judge yourself for what you find, just observe. This awareness is the first step towards change. Now let's think about how these thought patterns might be affecting your life right now. Those negative thoughts we talked about, they're not just harmless words in your head. They have a real impact on your actions and decisions. For example, if you often think, "I'm not smart enough," you might avoid challenges at work or school. You might not apply for that promotion or that interesting course, even though you're perfectly capable. This thought is literally holding you back from opportunities to grow and succeed. Or if you have a habit of thinking, "I'll never find love," you might subconsciously push people away or avoid putting yourself out there in social situations. This thought becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, creating the very situation you're afraid of. These negative thought patterns can affect every area of your life, your relationships, your career, your health, and your overall happiness. They can make you feel stressed, anxious, and stuck, even when things are actually going well. But here's the good news. Just as negative thoughts can hold you back, positive thoughts can propel you forward. If you believe in your ability to learn and grow, you're more likely to take on challenges and persist when things get tough. If you think, "I have something valuable to offer," you're more likely to form deep, meaningful relationships. The key is to start noticing these thought patterns and understanding how they're shaping your life. Once you're aware of them, you can start to change them. And when you change your thoughts, you change your life. Now that we've identified some of the thought patterns that might be holding you back, let's talk about how to break free from them. These negative thought patterns are often rooted in what we call limiting beliefs, ideas about yourself or the world that limit your potential. For example, you might have a limiting belief that "I'm not creative." This belief might have come from a teacher's comment when you were young or from comparing yourself to others. But here's the thing. Creativity isn't a fixed trait. It's a skill that can be developed and improved over time. By holding on to this limiting belief, you might be avoiding activities or opportunities that could help you grow and express yourself in new ways. Or maybe you have a limiting belief that money is hard to come by. This belief might make you hesitant to invest in yourself or your ideas, or it might make you settle for less than you're worth in your career. But in reality, there are countless ways to create value and earn money in today's world. The first step in breaking free from these limiting beliefs is to challenge them. When you notice a negative thought popping up, ask yourself, is this really true? Where did this belief come from? Is there evidence that contradicts this belief? For example, if you think, I'm not good at making friends, challenge that thought. Have you ever made a friend before? Have you had positive interactions with people? These are evidence that contradict your limiting belief. Remember, these beliefs aren't facts. They're just thoughts that you've repeated to yourself so many times that they feel true. But you have the power to change them. Once you've started to challenge your limiting beliefs, the next step is to actively rewrite your mental script. This means consciously choosing new, empowering thoughts to replace the old, limiting ones. Let's say you've identified a limiting belief that I'm too old to start something new. Instead of just arguing with this thought, you can replace it with a more empowering one like, every day is a new opportunity to learn and grow, or my experience gives me unique advantages in taking on new challenges. At first, these new thoughts might feel fake or forced. That's okay and totally normal. Think of it like learning a new language or a new skill. It feels awkward at first, but with practice, it becomes more natural. One effective way to practice this is through positive affirmations. These are short, powerful statements that you repeat to yourself regularly. For example, instead of, I always mess things up, you might affirm, I learn and grow from every experience. Instead of, I'm not good enough, try, I am constantly improving and becoming the best version of myself. The key is to choose affirmations that resonate with you and that you can believe, even if just a little bit. If the gap between your current belief and the affirmation is too big, start with something in between. For example, if you can't yet believe I am confident and charismatic, you might start with, I am learning to feel more confident in social situations. Remember, the goal isn't to ignore reality or pretend everything is perfect. It's to adopt a more balanced, growth-oriented perspective that empowers you to make positive changes in your life. Another powerful tool for changing your mindset is visualization. This is the practice of creating vivid mental images of what you want to achieve or experience. It's like daydreaming with a purpose. When you visualize, you're essentially giving your mind a blueprint of what you want to create in your life. This helps in two ways. First, it makes your goals feel more real and achievable, which boosts your motivation. Second, it helps your brain start noticing opportunities and resources that can help you achieve your vision. For example, if you're wanting to start your own business, you might visualize yourself confidently pitching your idea to investors or seeing your product on store shelves. Try to make these visualizations as detailed as possible. What are you wearing? How do you feel? What can you see, hear, and even smell in this scenario? The key is to not just see these images, but to really feel the emotions associated with achieving your goals. Allow yourself to feel the pride, joy, and satisfaction of reaching your dreams. This emotional connection makes the visualization even more powerful. You can practice visualization for a few minutes each day, perhaps as part of your morning routine or just before going to bed. Over time, you'll likely find that your confidence grows and you start taking more actions aligned with your vision. Remember, visualization isn't about escaping reality or avoiding taking action. It's a tool to help you clarify your goals, boost your confidence, and stay motivated as you work towards your dreams. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for changing your mindset: mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply the practice of being fully present and aware in the current moment without judgment. It's like giving your mind a chance to take a deep breath and reset. In our busy lives, it's easy to get caught up in a whirlwind of thoughts, constantly worrying about the future or rehashing the past. Mindfulness helps you step out of this mental chatter and connect with the here and now. This is incredibly powerful because it's only in the present moment that you have the power to make choices and take action. Practicing mindfulness can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths and focusing your attention on the sensation of breathing. Or you might try a body scan, where you systematically relax each part of your body from your toes to the top of your head. Even just taking a moment to fully engage with what you're doing, really tasting your food, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, or listening to the sounds around you is a form of mindfulness. As you practice mindfulness, you'll likely start to notice your thoughts more clearly. You might catch negative thought patterns more quickly before they have a chance to affect your mood or behavior. This awareness gives you the opportunity to choose different, more helpful thoughts. Mindfulness also helps reduce stress and anxiety, which often fuel negative thinking. When you're feeling calmer and more centered, it's easier to maintain a positive, growth-oriented mindset. Remember, mindfulness is a skill that gets stronger with practice. Even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference over time. And the best part is, you can practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime, while waiting in line, during your commute, or even in the middle of a stressful situation. Now that we've explored these powerful tools for changing your mindset, let's put it all together into a practical plan that you can start using right away to transform your life. Start by spending a week just noticing your thoughts. You might want to keep a thought journal, jotting down any recurring thoughts or patterns you notice. Don't try to change anything yet. Just observe. Once you've identified some of your key thought patterns, start challenging the negative ones. Ask yourself if they're really true, and look for evidence that contradicts them. Then, practice reframing these thoughts in a more positive, empowering way. Choose 3 to 5 positive affirmations that resonate with you. Write them down and repeat them to yourself each morning and evening. Remember, it's okay if they feel a bit awkward at first. Keep practicing. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each day visualizing your ideal life. Make it as vivid and detailed as possible, and really allow yourself to feel the positive emotions associated with achieving your goals. Incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine. This could be a 10-minute meditation session, or simply taking a few mindful breaths throughout the day. The key is consistency. Even a little bit each day can make a big difference over time. Remember, changing your mindset isn't just about thinking differently, it's about acting differently too. Each day, try to take at least one small action that aligns with your new empowering beliefs. This could be as simple as speaking up in a meeting if you're working on confidence, or trying a new hobby if you're working on being more open to new experiences. At the end of each week, take some time to reflect on how things are going. What's working well? What's still challenging? Use these insights to adjust your approach as needed. Remember, changing your mindset is a journey, not a destination. It's normal to have ups and downs along the way. The key is to be patient with yourself and to keep practicing. Every small step you take is bringing you closer to the life you want to create. As you start to implement these changes, you might be surprised at how quickly you start to see results. You might find yourself feeling more confident, more optimistic, and more empowered to take on challenges. You might notice opportunities that you would have missed before, or find yourself handling stress more easily. But even more importantly, you'll be developing a skill that will serve you for the rest of your life. The ability to consciously shape your thoughts and, in turn, your reality. This is truly the key to unlocking your life's potential and creating the life you've always dreamed of. The spiritual connection, your inner compass. Now that we've explored the power of our thoughts, let's dive into something even deeper, the spiritual connection. Don't worry, we're not talking about anything complicated or mysterious here. When we talk about spirituality in this context, we're simply referring to your inner sense of connection to something bigger than yourself. It's like an inner compass that guides you towards what truly matters in your life. Think about those moments when you felt truly at peace, or when you've experienced a deep sense of purpose. Maybe it was while watching a beautiful sunset, or when you were helping someone in need. These moments of connection can be incredibly powerful in shaping our thoughts and, in turn, our lives. The great thing about this spiritual connection is that it's personal to you. It doesn't have to involve any specific beliefs or practices. It's all about finding what resonates with you and helps you feel centered and connected. One simple way to tap into this spiritual connection is through gratitude. When you take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small, you're essentially tuning into that bigger picture. You're shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right, from what you lack to what you have. This shift can have a profound impact on your overall mindset and well-being. Another powerful practice is meditation. Now, don't let that word intimidate you. Meditation can be as simple as sitting quietly for a few minutes and focusing on your breath. It's a way to quiet the constant chatter of your mind and connect with that deeper part of yourself. When you meditate regularly, you might find that you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, making it easier to choose positive, empowering thought patterns. When you combine the power of your mind with this spiritual connection, amazing things can happen. It's like adding rocket fuel to your efforts to change your life. Here's why. First, this spiritual connection can provide a sense of purpose and meaning that goes beyond just achieving goals or changing habits. It can help you understand why you want to make changes in your life, which can be a powerful motivator when things get tough. For example, let's say you're trying to adopt a healthier lifestyle. If you're just doing it because you think you should, it might be hard to stick with it. But if you connect it to a deeper purpose, like wanting to have the energy to play with your kids or to be able to contribute to your community for many years to come, suddenly, those healthy choices become much more meaningful and easier to maintain. Secondly, tapping into this spiritual connection can help you develop more self-compassion. When you feel connected to something bigger than yourself, it becomes easier to see your own struggles and setbacks with kindness and understanding. Instead of beating yourself up over mistakes or perceived failures, you can view them as part of your growth journey. This self-compassion is crucial when you're trying to change your thought patterns. Remember, you're essentially rewiring years of habitual thinking. It's normal for old thought patterns to pop up sometimes. When you can approach these moments with compassion instead of judgment, you're much more likely to stay on track with your positive changes. Now let's look at some practical techniques you can use to strengthen this spiritual connection and support your mindset shift. Don't worry. These are simple practices that anyone can do, regardless of your beliefs or background. One powerful technique is mindful breathing. This is as simple as it sounds. Just take a few minutes each day to focus on your breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Notice the rise and fall of your chest or belly. When your mind wanders, which it will, and that's okay, gently bring your attention back to your breath. This practice can help you feel more centered and connected, making it easier to choose positive thoughts. Another technique is to spend time in nature. There's something about being surrounded by trees or watching waves crash on a beach that helps put our problems into perspective. It reminds us that we're part of something much bigger. Even if you live in a city, you can practice this by visiting a local park or even just watching the sky. As you do this, try to really engage all your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, and feel? You might also want to try journaling. Set aside a few minutes each day to write down your thoughts and feelings. This can help you process your emotions and gain clarity on what's really important to you. You might want to end each journaling session by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. This simple practice can shift your focus towards the positive aspects of your life. Another powerful technique is visualization, but with a spiritual twist. Instead of just visualizing your goals, try visualizing yourself as your highest, best self. What does that version of you look and feel like? How do they interact with others? How do they handle challenges? Spend a few minutes each day connecting with this vision of your best self. This can help guide your thoughts and actions towards becoming that person. Remember, the key with all these techniques is consistency. It's better to spend 5 minutes a day on these practices than an hour once a week. Over time, you'll likely find that these spiritual practices become a cherished part of your routine, supporting your ongoing mindset shift and personal growth. Now that we've explored the spiritual connection, let's dive into some specific techniques you can use to change your thoughts. Think of these as tools in your mental toolkit. You can pull them out whenever you need to shift your thinking in a more positive direction. One powerful technique is called thought stopping. This is exactly what it sounds like. When you notice a negative thought popping up, you mentally yell, "Stop." You can even imagine a big red stop sign if that helps. This interrupts the negative thought pattern and gives you a chance to choose a different, more helpful thought. For example, let's say you're about to give a presentation at work and you catch yourself thinking, "I'm going to mess this up." You can mentally yell, "Stop," and then replace that thought with something more positive like, "I've prepared well and I'm going to do my best." Another useful technique is reframing. This involves looking at a situation from a different perspective. For instance, if you didn't get a job you applied for, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you could reframe it as, "This wasn't the right fit, but it was good practice for my interview skills. The right opportunity is still out there." You can also use positive self-talk. This is like being your own cheerleader. Instead of criticizing yourself, practice encouraging yourself the way you would a good friend. For example, Instead of, I'm so stupid for making that mistake, try, everyone makes mistakes sometimes. What can I learn from this? One more technique to add to your toolkit is cognitive restructuring. This involves identifying and challenging negative thought patterns. When you notice a negative thought, ask yourself, is this thought based on facts or feelings? Is there another way to look at this situation? What would I tell a friend if they were having this thought? Affirmations and mantras are simple yet powerful tools for changing your thoughts. An affirmation is a positive statement that you repeat to yourself regularly. For example, I am capable of handling whatever challenges come my way, or I choose to focus on the good in my life. The key with affirmations is to choose ones that resonate with you and that you can believe, even if just a little bit. If the affirmation feels too far from your current beliefs, you can start with something like, I'm learning to believe in myself more each day. Mantras are similar to affirmations, but they're often shorter and can be repeated like a meditation. For example, I am enough, or peace begins with me. You might choose to repeat your mantra silently to yourself when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Both affirmations and mantras work by gradually reshaping your thought patterns. When you consistently feed your mind positive messages, over time, these start to become your default way of thinking. It's important to note that affirmations and mantras aren't about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. They're about choosing to focus on positive possibilities and your own inner strength. Even in difficult situations, you can use affirmations to remind yourself of your resilience and capacity to grow. Visualization is another powerful technique for changing your thoughts and, ultimately, your life. This involves creating vivid mental images of what you want to achieve or how you want to feel. When you visualize, you're essentially giving your brain a roadmap. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. This means that visualization can help build the neural pathways that support your goals, making them feel more achievable. To practice visualization, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and imagine yourself having already achieved your goal. What does it look like? How do you feel? What are you doing? Try to engage all your senses in this mental picture. For example, if your goal is to become more confident in social situations, you might visualize yourself at a party, feeling relaxed and engaging in interesting conversations. Imagine the sound of laughter and music, the feeling of a smile on your face, the sense of ease in your body. The key with visualization is to make it as vivid and positive as possible. Focus on what you do want rather than what you don't want. And most importantly, allow yourself to really feel the positive emotions associated with your visualization. You can practice visualization for a few minutes each day, perhaps as part of your morning routine or just before going to sleep. Over time, you may find that your confidence grows and you naturally start taking actions aligned with your vision. Remember, visualization isn't about escaping reality or avoiding taking action. It's a tool to help you clarify your goals, boost your confidence, and stay motivated as you work towards your dreams. When combined with consistent action, visualization can be a powerful catalyst for change in your life. As we've been discussing all these techniques for positive thinking, you might be wondering, What about the negative thoughts? Is it really possible to just get rid of them completely? The truth is, negative thoughts are a normal part of being human. We all have them from time to time, and that's okay. The goal isn't to eliminate negative thoughts entirely, but to learn how to handle them in a way that doesn't derail your progress or bring you down. Think of negative thoughts like clouds in the sky. They may pass through, but they don't define the entire sky. In the same way, negative thoughts may pass through your mind, but they don't define you or your entire experience. One helpful approach is to practice thought observation. This involves noticing your thoughts without judging them or getting caught up in them. When a negative thought comes up, you can simply acknowledge it. Oh, there's that thought again. This creates a bit of distance between you and the thought, making it easier to choose whether or not to engage with it. Another technique is to name it to tame it. This involves labeling your thoughts or emotions. For example, if you're feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation, you might say to yourself, "I'm having the thought that I might mess up," or "I'm noticing some anxiety." This simple act of naming can help reduce the power of the thought or feeling. You can also try thanking your negative thoughts. This might sound strange, but hear me out. Often, negative thoughts are trying to protect us in some way, even if they're going about it in an unhelpful manner. By thanking the thought, you acknowledge its intention without letting it control you. For example, "Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I've got this." Another powerful way to deal with negative thoughts is to reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. This doesn't mean pretending that difficult situations are fun or easy. It means looking for the potential lessons or silver linings in tough times. For example, if you make a mistake at work, instead of thinking, "I'm such a failure," you could reframe it as, "This is an opportunity for me to learn and improve." Or if you're going through a tough breakup, instead of, "I'll never find love again," you might think, "This is a chance for me to learn more about myself and what I want in a relationship." This approach doesn't make challenges disappear, but it can make them feel more manageable and even valuable. It's about adopting a growth mindset, believing that you can learn and develop from all of life's experiences, both good and bad. Remember, dealing with negative thoughts is a skill that gets easier with practice. Be patient with yourself as you learn these new ways of thinking. It's normal to have setbacks or days when negative thoughts feel overwhelming. The key is to keep practicing and to be kind to yourself in the process. Over time, you'll likely find that while negative thoughts still pop up sometimes, they have less power over you. You'll be better equipped to recognize them for what they are, just thoughts, not facts, and to choose more helpful ways of thinking. Now that we've explored various techniques for changing your thoughts, let's talk about how to turn these new thought patterns into lasting habits. After all, the ultimate goal isn't just to think differently, but to live differently. Creating new habits starts with consistency. It's better to practice your new thought patterns for a few minutes each day than to do a marathon session once a week. Set aside a specific time each day for your mental exercises, whether that's right after you wake up, during your lunch break, or before you go to bed. One effective strategy is to anchor your new habits to existing routines. For example, you might practice your affirmations while brushing your teeth, or do a quick visualization exercise while waiting for your coffee to brew. This makes it easier to remember and stick to your new habits. It's also important to start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire thought process overnight. Begin with 1 or 2 techniques that resonate with you and gradually add more as these become second nature. Remember, slow and steady progress is more sustainable than trying to change everything at once. When it comes to creating new habits, repetition is key. It takes time for new neural pathways to form in your brain. At first, your new thought patterns might feel forced or unnatural. That's okay and completely normal. Keep practicing, and over time, these new ways of thinking will start to feel more natural and automatic. Be patient with yourself during this process. It's often said that it takes about 21 days to form a new habit, but the truth is, it can vary greatly from person to person and habit to habit. Some habits might click into place quickly, while others might take months of consistent practice. Remember, progress isn't always linear. You might have days where you fall back into old thought patterns, and that's okay. The important thing is to gently redirect yourself back to your new habits without harsh self-judgment. Each time you choose a positive thought over a negative one, you're strengthening those new neural pathways, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. One way to stay motivated as you're creating these new habits is to track your progress. This doesn't have to be complicated. A simple journal where you jot down your daily practice and any changes you notice can be incredibly powerful. You might note things like how often you caught and reframed negative thoughts, moments when you used your new thought patterns to handle a challenging situation, any positive changes you've noticed in your mood, behavior, or circumstances. Reviewing this journal regularly can help you see the progress you're making, even on days when it might not feel obvious. It can also help you identify patterns or triggers that you might want to work on. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Celebrate every small win along the way. Did you catch yourself in negative self-talk and choose a more positive thought? That's a win. Did you take a deep breath and reframe a stressful situation? That's a win too. By consistently practicing these new thought patterns and turning them into habits, you're not just changing your mind, you're changing your life. You're creating a new default mode of thinking that will influence every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your career, to your overall sense of well-being. And the best part? As these new habits become more ingrained, they require less conscious effort. Eventually, positive, empowering thoughts will become your natural way of thinking, setting you up for greater happiness, success, and fulfillment in all areas of your life. Real-life examples, transformations through mindset shifts. Let's bring all of this to life with some real-world examples. These stories show how changing your thoughts can lead to amazing changes in your life. Meet Sarah, a 35-year-old office worker. For years, Sarah believed she was just not a creative person. This belief held her back from pursuing her secret dream of starting a small craft business. One day, Sarah decided to challenge this thought. She started using affirmations like, "I am creative in my own unique way," and began a daily practice of doodling for just 10 minutes. At first, it felt awkward and forced, but Sarah kept at it, reminding herself that creativity is a skill that can be developed. She also started reframing her negative thoughts. When she felt frustrated with her progress, instead of thinking, I'm no good at this, she'd think, I'm learning and improving every day. After a few months, Sarah noticed a change. Not only had her drawing skills improved, but she was coming up with creative solutions at work too. Her confidence grew, and she finally took the plunge to open an online store for her crafts. Today, Sarah's business is thriving, and she often marvels at how a simple shift in her thoughts opened up a whole new world of possibilities. Then there's Michael, a 50-year-old who had always struggled with his weight. Michael's mind was full of negative self-talk. I'll always be fat. I have no willpower. It's too late to change. These thoughts led to a cycle of yo-yo dieting and frustration. Michael decided to try a different approach. He started practicing mindfulness, really paying attention to how different foods made his body feel. He replaced his negative self-talk with compassionate, encouraging thoughts. I'm taking care of my body. Every healthy choice makes a difference. It's never too late to improve my health. Michael also used visualization, imagining himself feeling energetic and confident in his body. He didn't focus on a specific weight goal, but on how he wanted to feel. This shift in thinking led to a shift in his habits. Instead of punishing himself with strict diets, Michael started making sustainable, healthy choices. Over time, Michael not only lost weight, but more importantly, he developed a positive relationship with food and exercise. His energy improved, and he found himself trying new activities he never thought possible before. Michael's story shows how changing your thoughts can lead to lasting lifestyle changes. Lastly, let's talk about Emma, a 28-year-old who suffered from severe social anxiety. Emma's thoughts were dominated by fears. Everyone is judging me. I'll say something stupid. I don't fit in. These thoughts kept Emma isolated and unhappy. Emma started working on her thoughts using cognitive restructuring. She learned to challenge her anxious thoughts. Is there evidence that everyone is judging me? Are there times when I've had positive social interactions? She also practiced affirmations. I am worthy of connection. I have valuable things to contribute. Emma used visualization to imagine herself feeling calm and confident in social situations. She also practiced mindfulness to help her stay present instead of getting caught up in anxious thoughts about the future. It wasn't an overnight change, but gradually Emma noticed a difference. She started accepting invitations to social events instead of automatically saying no. When anxious thoughts came up, she was better able to recognize them as just thoughts, not facts. Today, while Emma still experiences some anxiety, it no longer controls her life. She has a circle of close friends and even enjoys public speaking, something she never thought possible before. Emma's story demonstrates how changing your thoughts can help overcome even deeply ingrained fears and limitations. These stories show that no matter what your starting point is, changing your thoughts can lead to profound changes in your life. Whether it's unlocking creativity, improving health, or overcoming anxiety, the power of your mind is truly remarkable. Now let's be real. Changing your thoughts and habits isn't always easy. There will be challenges along the way, but being prepared for these challenges can help you overcome them and stay on track with your mindset shift. One common challenge is dealing with setbacks. You might have a day where you fall back into old thought patterns, or where external circumstances make it hard to maintain a positive mindset. When this happens, it's important to remember that setbacks are a normal part of any change process. Instead of seeing them as failures, try to view them as learning opportunities. For example, if you have a day where negative thoughts seem to take over, don't beat yourself up about it. Instead, get curious. What triggered these thoughts? How did they affect your mood and behavior? What techniques could you use next time to handle the situation differently? By approaching setbacks with a growth mindset, you turn them into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Another challenge you might face is resistance from others. When you start changing your thoughts and behaviors, some people in your life might feel uncomfortable. They might be used to the old you and unsure how to react to the changes they see. Remember, their reaction is about them, not you. Stay committed to your growth, but also be patient with others as they adjust. You might even inspire them to make positive changes in their own lives. Maintaining motivation over the long term can also be challenging. In the beginning, the novelty of these new thought patterns can be exciting, but as time goes on, you might find your enthusiasm waning. This is where having a strong why becomes crucial. Remind yourself regularly why you started this journey. What kind of life do you want to create? How will changing your thoughts help you get there? Connecting to this deeper purpose can help fuel your motivation even on tough days. It can also be helpful to track your progress. Keep a journal where you note the positive changes you're seeing, no matter how small. Maybe you handled a stressful situation better than you would have in the past, or perhaps you're noticing more moments of joy in your day. Seeing these improvements in black and white can be a powerful motivator. Don't forget to celebrate your wins along the way. Did you consistently practice your new thought patterns for a week? Celebrate that. Did you reframe a negative situation into a positive one? That's worth celebrating too. These celebrations help reinforce your new habits and keep you motivated. Lastly, remember that it's okay to ask for support. Share your journey with trusted friends or family members who can encourage you. Consider joining a support group or working with a coach or therapist who can provide guidance and accountability. As you continue on this path of changing your thoughts and your life, remember that it's not about reaching a perfect end state. It's about embracing the journey of growth and self-discovery. There will be ups and downs, moments of clarity, and moments of confusion. But with each step, with each thought you consciously choose, you're creating a new reality for yourself. You're becoming more aware, more intentional, and more aligned with the person you want to be. So be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, learn from your setbacks, and most importantly, keep going. The power to change your life is within you, one thought at a time. As we come to the end of our journey through the power of the mind, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've explored how our thoughts shape our reality, how to change negative thought patterns, the importance of spirituality in our mental well-being, and practical techniques for transforming our mindset. Remember, the power to change your life lies within your own mind. Your thoughts are not just passive observations. They are active creators of your reality. By becoming aware of your thought patterns and consciously choosing more positive, empowering thoughts, you have the ability to transform every aspect of your life. We've seen how real people like Sarah, Michael, and Emma have used these principles to overcome limitations, achieve their dreams, and find greater happiness and fulfillment. Their stories show us that no matter where you're starting from, change is possible. But this journey of mental transformation is not always easy. There will be challenges and setbacks along the way. Remember to be patient with yourself, to celebrate your progress, and to view obstacles as opportunities for growth. The techniques we've discussed, from affirmations and visualization to mindfulness and cognitive restructuring, are powerful tools in your mental toolkit. Use them consistently, and you'll begin to see changes not just in your thoughts, but in your actions, your relationships, and your overall life experience. Remember, this is a lifelong journey. Your mind is incredibly powerful, and you have the ability to keep growing, learning, and evolving throughout your life. Every day is a new opportunity to choose thoughts that serve you and align with the life you want to create. So, as you move forward from here, I encourage you to be intentional about your thoughts. Notice them, challenge them when necessary, and consciously choose thoughts that empower and inspire you. Your mind is a garden. Tend to it carefully. Plant seeds of positivity and growth, and watch as your life blossoms in amazing ways. You have the power to change your thoughts, and in doing so, to change your life. The journey starts with a single thought. Why not make it a positive one? Your future self will thank you for the positive changes you begin today. Remember, the power is in your mind. Use it wisely and watch as your life transforms in wonderful ways.